So this is what I figured out about being depressed. Right, it starts with those negative thoughts having constant reinforcement, unregulated. It starts with silently you telling yourself, "Oh, you're not good at something," and you condemning yourself. The human being is divided into two major sections, which is that of the positive side and that of the negative. But the average human being, or the higher human being, or the higher number of human being, the higher population, has quite a negative energy more than a positive energy. When you hear people talk about the 97% of the world and the 3%, real success is not just when you have money in your account. However, the moment you're focused on creating services and providing solutions, you definitely make money, because money is just basically providing services and products. And the urge to provide those things usually come in from trying to solve a problem. I would always see philosophers talk about the moment you make your life all about other people, you already start making great accomplishments. It never made sense to me, not until I listened to Jim Carrey. He said he found a purpose in his life, worked constantly. The only thing that was important to him was, making other people less bothered. Like, he was a comedian, so he wanted everybody to, for a moment when he's around, at least do not think about those painful things that you've been thinking of. Just be happy. So he had this presence where wherever he is, he's funny and people would constantly laugh. And he became very good in his career. So me now, for instance, I think I've always known my purpose as a child has been to build up generational wealth. But I think that is not really my purpose. My purpose in life has always been to have a big corporation, have lots of people employed, provide lots of services people cannot do it, look for the issues people will be having and identify a solution. I think entrepreneurship was something I got, giving birth with. Now currently it feels like I'm being depressed, and while listening to Jim Carrey, I understood depression is basically a depressed. It is the point you are in your life where your body, or where your mind rather, it's not just happy with the actions of your body. And every one of us wants to overcome depression and become happy again, to return to the new character, or to return to our new character. Only few people would go through a depression, you know. Yeah, so like I was saying, most people would end up overcoming depression and trying to become a new person. But that's not what they ought to do. It's usually a time you deeply think, reflect, and allow your mind to show you a better way. Now, most people's mind are not well equipped to show them a better thing to do. So when they get depressed, they get suicidal, they're misbehaving, and it's all based on knowledge. Like, I can sound calmly now while I'm depressed because I've read lots of books and I've listened to lots of people. If things were different right now, I should be somewhere, so I'm depressed, or I'm feeling bad, or crying from morning to night and all that. I think I had my own fair share of pain anyway. So that book, Outwitting the Devil, it's a very powerful book. I don't think, the people in the world would have allowed anyone to publish that kind of book, because it actually shows you how powerful the negative thought comes in, and also allows you to understand that your mind is like a shield system, right? And the easier way to make your mind happy is when you have constant reflection, and when you do two things, that can give you a greater purpose. Now, most of us being unhappy, unfulfilled, is because either we're not fulfilling our purpose, we don't have a purpose, or it looks like our purpose is not going to be achievable. It's more like when you have so much things you want to do with so much enthusiasm and so much hope, and it feels, you go into depression. Or when you don't even have a purpose, the year runs down, and that year runs down, it's as if 2 years have not achieved anything, go into depression. Or when it's as if your purpose is not even going to come close, like, they're picking up people and they're calling lots of people, or maybe you don't even stand a chance in a relationship. It seems like you're the least of the persons, thought, you go into depression. So depression actually comes in from three of these major things. Now, if you notice every one of them, they're not really physical. They're not things you could feel and touch. They're things, that goes through your mind. So, for instance, you are trying to achieve something you didn't. I mean, the sense of achievement, it's in your mind, right? It's not like anyone will kill you right now, you will get caged or anything. I mean, you could also still lose your job if you don't achieve maybe what the company wants. But the real depression comes in when your mind constantly loops around the failure. Oh, I did not do well. And it constantly stays there. And now I will just tell you, oh, it's for you to just stand up and don't give up and try again. But we all have different, willpower and different, emotional power. And sometimes the environment doesn't really help you rekindle your first. So imagine where you're actually trying to feel, strong, even if you feel disappointed, you couldn't achieve your dream, and everybody around you is reinforcing you with negative energy, telling you how, oh, you wish you had done, you like giving your best, or take heart, or trying to make you feel sorry for or pathetic in a way, you break down. So when I keep saying you need to reflect more with yourself, it basically means, okay, right now I am depressed. My body is not happy with the kind of person that I am. How do I be a new person? What new version of person would I want to be? So me, for instance, I want to be this new person that would wake up in the morning, right? Gym is not an option for now, but I want to start working towards it. I think I want to be getting fit. But I think I want to be this morning who, the moment he wakes up, he's identifying troubles and he's solving them. I want to keep looking for problems related to, coding. Because the only thing I've been able to solve in my life, I can solve well is coding. I've been in projects that would take me 3 weeks. At the end of the whole day, I fixed it. Coding is the only thing I have power over. I don't have power over my relationship. I'm in a relationship right now. We're both having difficulties. If I come back and say, oh, I'm sorry, I fixed things. The person will likely tell me, oh, I don't feel like being with you again. But one person who doesn't tell me that is myself. I've gotten upset with myself on numerous times. I don't disappoint myself, tire. And each time I come to really have a seat with myself, I'm always there. So it's like a psychological thing, it's a thing of a mind. So I feel I'm really trying to keep my happiness so much independent of someone else. Like, it's always me feeling, oh, I have to be successful if I'm with this person. Oh, I've planned my life with this other person. Realistically, I've always been smart and I've always been focused. Just that I just felt I couldn't do it alone. And honestly and sincerely, you can't achieve everything alone. You need some people to get things done, right? But sometimes not everybody is forgiving. I'm a forgiving soul. If you wrong me 200 times, you tell me sorry 200 times, I'll forgive you. I don't know why I'm like that, but that's just who I am. And I don't really expect other people to be as forgiving as I am. Right? I might be able to really understand. Like, if someone wrongs me, I'll try to make reasons why they did that and try to say, okay, maybe it wasn't your fault. Maybe you were feeling this. I try to even follow up your upbringing to understand why you must have done that to me. But everybody just tells me the thing I did that is wrong. And they don't want to even see how I was grown, my upbringing. They don't want to even see what I've been through that must have made me shape. So it turned out that, I've probably been too focused on the wrong people. Maybe the only person who really likes me is me, right? Happiness is a thing of a mind. It's a mindset. The things I have right now, there's someone who would have it and who would be the happiest guy ever. If he has my car, if he has the cash in my account, if he has the little thing I have, he would feel excited, right? And there's still someone who owns that 1 billion naira right now that I've so wanted, and I want to feel that 1 billion. And he gives me the 1 billion with the key to his Rolls Royce and all his mansions, But him staying there is not happy. He's probably wanting a better life. So sometimes happiness is basically a decision, right? It's you telling yourself. Drugs don't really do it that much. They could help you, think less, help the pain not hitting more. But your mind is really very powerful, and your mind really wants to talk to you. And the more you keep taking things or finding a way to shield your mind keeps shouting, we need to have a meeting. Listen to me. Sit here. We need to have a deep talk. You need to have a deep rest. Now, most people keep ignoring that sign, and then it falls into depression. Your mind constantly wants to talk to you. Then your mind is no longer okay. It's just restless because it needs to have a meeting with you. Now, why I actually said it needs to have a meeting with you is I've sat down to really reflect a bit, and I'm trying to see how I can, make sense out of everything. And then I figured out that, I wasn't really living fulfilling because I felt that things I would have, achieved were not achieved. And most of those things I couldn't achieve were basically because, I wasn't putting those things first. right? I've always put other people before me. It's, oh, hi is the children, how is this person, how is this person, how is my mom, it's always other people before me. It's never me. I wake up in the morning, I'm not telling myself, Daniel, what would you eat? I'm looking at the next person to know if they're okay. I should really just focus on my goals. But instead, I'm looking at, I should really learn how to be me. It's bad enough I didn't grow up with any love. And it's bad enough that I'm trying to find love at this age of my life. I grew up without any parental love. So what the fuck am I looking for love or support at this particular point of my life? Now, the only thing I should be looking for, it's how to make sure I do not make the same mistake that was done with me in history, where I had parents who did not care, and I had a family who wasn't supportive, and I had the wrongest friends and wrongest associates. Now, if I'm not really careful, my boys, if I start having sons, would obviously go through the same process again, and the cycle repeats. So I need to break off the cycle, and I don't think I am focusing on that. I don't think I'm even focusing on that generational wealth anymore. I think I derailed a bit. I think I started letting myself to relax too much. Oh, let's watch one Netflix episode. Oh, let's have a conversation. Let's gist. These things are not really necessary. I know I would somehow, someday in my life, learn how to be social with people. But I think I need to be best of friends with myself first. Because I've been making other people best of friends other than myself. There was a point in school when I was always the top. I would always come first, and I was the brightest in school. And I can tell you then was when I had only one friend, that was me. So I wake up in the morning and I would just open my book and I would, remember the things I read at night, because I often love reading at night. And I would dress up and I would go to school. When I get to school, I wasn't somebody who talked to other students. I was an introvert, a very spoilt one, in the sense that I just go over, buy my snacks, sit on my table, eat my shit, read my book. I rarely would want to associate with anyone. Then I became the weirdo of the class. And somewhere in between, I started laughing with people, started playing ball. Now, if I come back from school, I open my book, I read everything the teacher has told me to taught in the class. I read over and over. I like cramming. I love reading. I love making sure I can write those things in my own words. I take my bath. I relax up a bit. And I love thinking when I was a child. I would lie down. You need to see how I was. You think I have mental problem when I was little. I would lie down and I would keep thinking of one big Dannyokec corporation. It's always been my dream to have a corporation, to have a 4-5 story building, putting on a suit and becoming that big business. That has always been my dream. Told my father about it. Now he doesn't even know shit, so he doesn't even care. My mom, she wants him to be a pastor and a doctor. So to fuck with your entrepreneurship ideas. Now imagine I had gone to business school or had a proper social or a proper coding, what's it called in school. But funny enough, I didn't get those things when I was small or when I was younger. But now this is an opportunity for me to learn them. Let's assume while I was little, it would have been difficult learning business. So what is happening now? I spent time talking to my friend. I could spend time reading a book or having a sober reflection. Now, 5-10 years from now, I don't intend getting married. I don't even use the year-to-year marriage anymore. If you want to scare me right now, don't tell me Juju Calabar. Just tell me Mr. Dana get married, and I will jump from a skyscraper, because I don't want to hear it. It's something that I felt ruined my life. If I probably stayed single, being focused on my dream, learned how to love myself and how to build a team, I would have been a billionaire, and I'm sure of that. Being in a position where today I'm having one quarrel, tomorrow we're having one quarrel, and the quarrels are usually, one person not getting to understand that, see, I can't take this no more. You complain about your spouse not doing something well. They're looking for a defense. So, it's more of talk your own, let me talk my own. It's no, if you actually say, I'm going to be leaving this relationship if you don't do this, the other person sees it as a threat. So I think relationship has never on earth been for me. Because right from when I was a child and I started getting to while I was in primary school, there was this book called New General Mathematics. Somewhere in the book we had this A is for 1, B is for 2, beautiful. So there was a point I loved, or I liked this girl as a crush. Her name was Joy. I will never forget her name. And I used to carry first. I was the first position. After liking this girl, and I started playing ball in school, and I started socializing to be like a normal kid, I started carrying 4th and 5th. Before I left the school, I carried 7th. Somebody who carried 4th for consistently for how long? So it really actually told you that the worst thing that can actually happen to you is to stop having yourself as your best friend. I became a lesser friend, and I allowed someone else to be a bigger friend. I would always say put your first first, put yourself first, put yourself second before you put any other person. But I think in my own Sereno, I was busy putting other people first. And the real truth is, people will not really respect your effort if those efforts are not done, well. Like me right now, I'm trying to set up as many offices as possible. I don't have enough money, right? So anything I'm doing right now, I look like a joker. Give me 100 million naira, right? I say, give me 100 million naira. Give me like a billion naira right now, and I'm able to put like 100 million here, 100 million there, 200 million here, and everything is looking up beautiful. Everybody will keep clapping, telling you, "Oh, wow, happy I've achieved so much." So people have a way of seeing the wrongest thing you do when you're struggling. Like the moment you're struggling and you're putting a whole lot of effort, it's difficult. It's if you're singing in music and everybody knows you're a musician, they see you struggling, you're staying in a one-room apartment, it seems like life is having a toll on you. They'll all advise you to leave music. Everybody's giving you the advice of, oh, music is not for you, find something better to do. And most of them will laugh you. Not until you become a full-blown star, you start saying hypocritical words like, I've always known he would make it. So at the beginning, nobody really cares. So making other people your friend first. You should never even make anybody your friend aside you, right? You should come first before, you should make yourself your best of friend. Because at the end of the whole day, nobody, I repeat, nobody would ever give their life for you. Nobody would even go through stress for you. In fact, if you even wrong somebody, they will forget everything you've ever done. The only person who doesn't ever forget what he has ever done for you is you. So it's you putting yourself first, becoming that best of friend. So what I'll actually do right now is very simple. I'm gonna keep trying to replace every single disappointment in my life to a program or a session of a code I need to code. I think I am practically a bit way too busy, and not consuming the right data, or I'm not faced with challenges. That is why I'm whiling it away. By the time I start coding right now and I start focusing on the things I need to do and see their impact, which is another thing, I need to start sharing my wins. If I code something now, I would share how I did it. Code something else, I would share how I did it. So that way, it's easy for me to have a new life, right? Let's assume the old Dannyokec, it's gone because he has lots of faults. I want to start writing what I feel a new model would be like. And I feel the only time I feel bad is when I sit down and I do nothing. So I really do not have anything to reflect again. So I reflect on voidness, and it resonates back with anger. So the way depression works is, I'm not happy right now. I'm lying down on this bed. I'm feeling very bad. And now since I am currently vacant, my mind is vacant. The only thing that is there is empty, is void. Like I don't feel like I'm fulfilling. So I'm actually, just like when you keep to mirror, I'm actually having this recursion of me thinking of how I haven't done anything and how I feel bad, how my body is not happy with what I'm doing. Now the only way to fix that, it's very difficult, because I said the biggest power is the power of the thought. So it's you being able to think, because most times people outside could try to tell you stand up and do something, but only you can actually change your thoughts. And that is the deadliest, the most powerful place that no one else can touch except you. And that is why they say no one else can change it except you. They talk about the power of free will, that no force can actually hold your free will, and all that. And that's practically because your power of your thought is yours and yours alone. You control it, right? However, your thought is being shaped by the things you consume. So if I stay in a prison for 3 or 4 or 5 years, after a while, I'm not being conditioned for violence. I'm not being conditioned with mistrust, because you see lots of betrayals every day. People stabbing each other, people killing each other. When you come out from prison, you see normal human beings who are free, and you still constantly have that prison instinct. And that is practically because you have submerged yourself into that particular reality. So the thoughts you process continuously, the things you expose yourself to, shape you without knowing. Now, the easiest way to let yourself shape to the desire of who you want to be is to constantly try to imagine that better version of yourself. So that way, just the way you would spend 3 years, in a particular place and it influences you, you can let your mind influence itself. When they use battery to charge battery, yes, but now you need an external source, and that is media too. You need to be able to consume some positive media that will change your inkling. I'm really very smart. I'm not a bad man. I'm somebody who would always want to be there for people. I'm just somebody who wasn't properly structured. Like I basically had to find most things out myself, and I found them in a very painful way. So I really do not expect anybody to understand me, or feel what I feel. I just expect myself to do better. Once I become a billionaire, people will start making excuses for me. I mean, right now, if I'm talking to anybody, I'll be explaining how my father this or my mother this one. It's as if I'm giving excuses. If I become a billionaire in the council and I'm doing very well, I have companies I'm managing, I'm constantly focused on solving problems. That's when I'll not start seeing people who wronged me or, who abandoned me, telling me things like, oh, I'm really sorry, oh, I shouldn't have left you that way. Yeah, but you left me and it made me me. If I had my friends stand out by me, maybe I won't be feeling so much of a hurt. But every other person leaving me, letting me feel my pain myself, lets me know that it's just me. So it's actually a bigger revelation as well. That it's just me that can actually be my best friend. So right now, I feel lonely. But only one person can talk. Only one person can think. And that is my thoughts. And that is my voice. So I need to find a way to make those voice of hope. So most people have killed themselves. They've seen themselves finish. They can't even advise themselves. They can't even sit themselves down and tell themselves you can do better, because their voice sounds like empty promises, because they've laid for their hand on themselves on numerous occasions. So what I want to do now is very simple. I want to walk like a whole different Daniel, right? The problem I have is I have lots of restrictions, and I don't know. I need lots of things run, lots of errands run. I've never run errands in a very long time. I've never been able to do things in a very long time myself. But this is why I've always prayed to be in a position where I can sort out things without having to, because I'm somebody who prefers just paying people when they do things. I really do not know how to get up close. And I feel if this is the point I would have to make so much sacrifices in my life, I should constantly tell myself these are the sacrifices I'm making. And when things get better, I just hope I don't derail. Because the funny thing is, once things get better right now, everything is going well. You start seeing new faces. You start seeing people who would call you 6 times a day, acting like they all love you just because you're doing in a good position, or want to be part of that good position. And then the moment a challenge comes in, they want to leave you and move elsewhere. So I need to constantly really tell myself that I really do not need anyone again who would come into my position to feed without bringing the full stuff. I think I've always had this problem of allowing some low-life people to come close to me, they feed or whatever, like I'm having, and the moment I'm faced with the challenge, I'm on my own. Nobody cares anymore. They ignore you like you're not going to ever make it. Not until you overcome it and you're not doing well. You now see them trying to come up with one different excuses. I don't see new random people trying to act like they've all been homies and all nice with you. So in reality, you should never even give people such kind of chance. The cycle repeats. However, people who come with their food stuff, you eat, you cook it, both of you eat it, you're all good. Food stuff doesn't really mean food. It simply means people who add substance to your life. So this simply means having people who would be able to come in with suggestion, come in with support, come in with doing one particular thing to get a greater goal achieved. Those are the people who you should call your food stuff, people who bring things that would help you build. Those kind of people will end up making your life better. Right now, I'm going through a lot. I could see how somebody right now who would be able to start helping me run errands and do things. Within a few seconds, the person has achieved so many things or helped me achieve so many things I won't have achieved alone. Right, but I'm not having those kind of friends around. So the people I have usually are people who just come in, to chill and not come in with the full stuff. So I need to really understand that it's not just me as well. It's the people I also expose myself with, the environment. I'm always meeting people who are either they're not that educated or they don't have business inclined. People I have to shout consistently to talk to. People I have to, it should be me meeting people like me. When you meet people like you, people who have the same frequency as you, it's difficult. It's difficult to start having misunderstandings. Like someone who shares the same ideology as me would be best of friends. And someone whom every single thing opposes, or every single thought I have is the opposite of what they have, would have a very hard time blending together. So I think mine is simple. Forget about every single thing right now that has to do with just chilling and get focused more on the goal. It's painful for the past, especially throughout this week. I don't think have I smiled this week. From the beginning of this week, I actually had so much hope this week. my mindset was at the end of this week, I would achieve so many things. And it's annoying today is Friday, and I can actually see one reasonable thing I achieved. But I can really tell you part of why I did not achieve all these things were I was focused on the disappointment, the things I did not achieve, the things I did not do. I focused on them so bad that I allowed the time I would have used to do other things to be allocated to regretting. Do you know when you sit down in your morning, they call it wakekeeping. You sit at night, you keep crying about somebody who dies till the following morning. I've been doing wakekeeping for the little failure. I'm not somebody who looks back to the past, but I'm somebody who was hurt by an action. And it was difficult for me to let go of that action. And right now, I want to really let myself understand that it will not always go the way I want it to go. Disappointment would always come. Like when I use the word always, it simply means at one point or the other, disappointment will come in. So you living a life like you're always going to get it because you've been getting it for a while, you get disappointed when you finally hit a rejection. So you just letting yourself know that, I've been so lucky, so when do I fall? So it should be more of, okay, I've been winning consistently, so when am I falling anytime soon? Not like we're praying for downfall, but it shouldn't really come as a surprise to us. So that we don't live a life where we feel one little step we miss is the end of the world. But a life where we even get to appreciate the amount of steps that we've walked without missing. So let me head over to my computer and see what's best I can do for myself this morning.